Well, Mr. Burns had done it, the power plant had won it, with Roger Clemens clucking all the while. Mike Socha's tragic illness made us smile, while Wade Boggs lay unconscious on the bar.
Winston Churchill said, "The truth is such a precious commodity, we often have to surround it with a bodyguard of lies." Well, let me give you a big truth. Black victimization is the biggest hoax of our generation. The idea that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere, that explains everything. That's the biggest lie of our generation. But when you have an enormous lie like that, here's what's holding it up, propping it up. You can decide for yourself whether it's being propped up by a truth or a lie. We pick up a newspaper every day and we read that when we read about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem, it's not about disrespecting the flag. No, it's about upholding the right to free speech, to protest. Why can't you understand that? We had a teacher the other day thought it was so important to let us Hicks know about this truth, he stepped on an American flag only because nobody in the class had some scissors or had some matches. He would have burned it or cut it up. Of course, one student, and I'm so proud of that person, I'm so proud of the parents who raised that child. One guy got up and walked out. Not before he took a picture of the teacher standing on the flag. Now get this. The teacher, the whole lesson plan was freedom of speech, right to protest. It's an American thing, rah, rah, rah. The teacher wants the student punished who took the picture. And what about just everyday life? The mainstream media now, think about CNN. Listen to this clown D-Hell Hughley talk about Rudy Giuliani. Tell me if that's not racist and hateful.
Well, when it comes from someone like Rudy Giuliani, do you think that, and I've been watching the Twitter war, people can go online and see for themselves, but do you think that he was trying to make a more innocuous point, that he was trying to say, have love of humanity?
I think that there was nothing loving about that situation. I think he was a brutal mayor who had basically a reign of terror of black people in this country and in the city. To me, taking parenting advice from Rudy Giuliani is like Kim Kardashian giving me marriage advice. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous when you have a person who has set over some of the most heinous things that happened to black people in the history of this country, and to say something like that every time somebody says something about injustice, they are the terrorists. MLK would be considered a terrorist. Gandhi was a terrorist. Mandela was a terrorist. And all they were trying to do was fight for for justice. And to me, to have when old white men tell black men how to act, like that's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
So there we have it. Okay? We know the field is set. Hundreds and hundreds of people on national media have explained very, very patiently to me. Apparently, I don't know the Constitution that well. Explain to me, Colin, it's all about the kneeling. It's all about the right to protest. You should be proud. But what are we to make of the case of this catcher for the Seattle Mariners who was just suspended from Major League Baseball for telling the truth about Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, guys, tonight for the very first time, we are actually hearing from Clevenger himself. These tweets have created a firestorm, and local leaders are calling them racist.
Since he's a catcher, he needs to catch his own ball and actually take the pitch for it.
Community leaders are calling it a major league foul.
The tweets are remarkably disappointing. I would say that they're racist in nature.
This after the Seattle Mariners organization confirmed and condemned their own catcher, Steve Clevenger, for tweeting what many are calling racist remarks from his personal Twitter account, @Clev_45.
Given that he put that information out there on electronic media, he should expect that it would come to light, that these things would become known to not just those that might follow him, but others as well.
While Clevenger's Twitter account is private, one of his followers, @Cablebox666, took screenshots and shared the tweets publicly Thursday afternoon.
Doesn't matter. He still said it. It's still his tweet. He still needs own responsibility for it.
The tweets appear to be in reaction to recent protests and civil unrest in Charlotte, North Carolina. The first tweet saying, quote, "BLM is pathetic once again. Obama, you are pathetic once again. Everyone involved should be locked behind bars like animals." Followed by the second tweet, quote, "Black people beating whites when a thug got shot holding a gun by a black officer. Ha ha, blank, cracks me up. Keep kneeling for the anthem."
Because it was actually what I would call blatantly racist, and it shows that what his true thoughts are on people fighting for their lives on an everyday basis.
The Seattle Mariners responding, saying in part they are, quote, "very disappointed by the tweets posted on Clevenger's account." Going on to say, quote, "While he is certainly free to express himself, we strongly disagree with the language and tone of his comments."
They're racist comments, and they're racist comments by what ultimately, because of the nature of his position, is a leader in our community and somebody that our children listen to. He's certainly not somebody that we want our kids to emulate.
And tonight, Ken Rosenthal from Fox Sports sharing this statement from Clevenger, saying he wants to apologize to the Seattle Mariners, his teammates, his family, and the fans for the distraction my tweets on my personal Twitter page caused. He says that they were supposed to be private. He is sickened by the idea that anyone would think of him in racist terms. He says my tweets were reactionary to the events I saw on the news and were worded beyond poorly at best. And I can see how and why someone could read into my tweets far more deeply than how I actually feel. Now,
and how often have we exposed on this channel the blatant black on white hostility that's now also, we just saw an example of it with D.L. Hughley. Look, I mean, that was pure hostility. And now we've got a congressman down in North Carolina who represents Charlotte. He says the reason the people are protesting is because black people don't like white people, and now everybody's in a tizzy. I wonder where he got that idea.
Is there anything we should know?
You just know that all white people are fucking devils.
And make sure you air that one.
Air that shit.
Now. Don't take that
all
down.
white cops are fucking devils and white people. Y'all are fucking devils. I don't like none of you motherfuckers.
That's a family member to the guy who was shot in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know, the guy with the gun, the guy with the long criminal record, the guy who was reading a book, just can't find the book, that guy. So if you had asked me this morning, would Major League Baseball or anybody have had the nerve to suspend a catcher for calling Black Lives Matter a bunch of thugs? Well, remember, they did the same thing to that police officer in Baltimore a few weeks ago. He was a lieutenant. He sent an email out to all the members of his union saying, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter, they're a bunch of thugs. They suspended him for 2 weeks. This is a joke. The same people, in the same breath. It's like, yeah, we got to defend Colin Kaepernick, but suspend him, but suspend the catcher. Yeah, we got to defend D.L. Hughley, but get rid of that police officer. And everybody and all these brilliant talking heads, they just sit there and go, yeah. Yeah, I'm down with kicking them out. Yeah, I'm okay with Kaepernick talking, and I'm okay with kicking out the catcher. Yeah, I'll pretty much do anything not to make the black kids angry. So this happened a few months ago, just got released today. The white guy with the cap on, smartly backwards, he's the quarterback of Kentucky football team. Kentucky football is kind of like Georgia bourbon. They don't really go together, but there he is. He is in a dormitory of the football players that rival Eastern Kentucky University. A couple hours before, there'd been a little bit of argy-bargy. And here comes King Kong, strips off his shirt. This is the lineman for Eastern Kentucky. Some words are exchanged. Bam!
Down goes Frazier!
Okay, so the Kentucky quarterback is, he's down. Everybody's kind of standing around going, oh, what do we do now? What do we do now? Guy's up. He's kind of wobbly, kind of push him that way. Put his cap back on him. Now check this out. Okay, get out of here, dude. Everybody, they just push him out the door. Push him out the door. Push him out the door. In the notes to this video, I'll put a link to a story that kind of gives you the long, complicated explanation of what that guy was doing there in a place he shouldn't have been. But what I thought was really interesting was a Kentucky.com site where they also have a copy of this video up, and they have a couple hundred comments, and the comments, of course, are breaking down on black and white. The white are kind of evenly divided, one saying, oh, that guy's a sucker punch, and maybe drawing attention to the fact that a bunch of black guys surrounded and attacked a white guy. But then the other half of the white guys, they're going, oh, don't bring race into this. Race had nothing to do with it. Whatever. But what was also interesting on the black reaction was a lot of the black people who reacted just said the same thing. They just said, oh, you white guys are just upset because you just saw a black guy beat up a white guy. You don't like that. You guys are dumb. We're smart. I mean, that's what they were saying. Exhibit 9,762,851 in how screwed up everything is about race and racial violence. This is Colin. Hey, by the way, if you got a moment, why don't you subscribe to this channel? Just do it right now. I noticed a lot of people that come to this channel aren't subscribers, so you're kind of missing out a lot. And this channel's, man, the subscriptions are growing like crazy. The views are growing like crazy. I think this month I'll probably have close to 500,000 views. Now, that's not, Beyonce numbers, but there's something going on here. People are very, very curious about it.
Go subscribe right now by clicking here so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, everybody. You haven't clicked. Just go ahead and do it. Just click. I mean, I don't know what else. What you're really doing. It's right there. I can't click it for you. You have to click. No, they didn't. They're waiting or something. They're waiting to click. I don't know. I mean, I wish I could hear what they're saying on the other side, but that's just, if you click, we don't have to do this any longer. And what? I know, but dude, I can't go. You can go ahead. I can meet you there.
I'll meet you there. Do you want me to order Shakey's Mojo potatoes for you?
Yeah. What are you gonna? You know my order, right? Can you get me some mashed potatoes?
Mashed potatoes.
Cheese crankets.
Cheese crankets.
Two
gin flizzles.
2 gin flizzles. A couple pranishes.
Cheese pranish or regular pranish?
I've got to have a cheese pranish. We're gonna do it. I did.
Click it?
No. They still haven't clicked. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's just.
I'll get your normal order.
What is? Sorry, Jeff. What is the normal order?
2 cheese pranishes.
That's correct.
2 gin flizzles.
You sure you want to go with the cheese pranish?
I got regular pranish.
We get regular.
One of these.
One of each. Yeah.
You can do that. All right.
They haven't clicked. I mean, maybe there's something wrong.
Maybe the internet is slow.
Oh yeah. Hey, if this is going in and out, you just click and you don't have to see this anymore.
Right. You want.
Yeah. Buffering. Bye, guys.
So I hope you'll join in and like this video and subscribe to the channel. This is Colin Flaherty, author of Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. See you next time.
That's real business now. So anytime you see one of them blogs come up, Allen Iverson driving 93 miles an hour at 2 a.m. in the morning with a gun underneath the seat, 3 of the 5 are going to show up. Just check it. If you don't think I know what I'm talking about, check it for me. Because y'all internet babies now. I don't Google where you ask questions. Warren and Chris is where you get answers.
And just in case y'all not going to decide to do the right thing, if y'all got a crew, you got to have a fall guy in the crew. Teddy, come here, man. Teddy, come here, man. Come here, man. Come here, bro. Come here. Now, if they gonna keep rolling on Teddy's bankroll, because each one of y'all in business for yourself. This right here is Teddy Bridgewater Inc.
Incorporated.
That's him. Now, every dime that come into Teddy, all right, is going to be earned by him and this body. All right? Now, I let my homeboys know. Y'all want to keep rolling like this? Then I need to know who's going to be the fall guy, who's going to be driving, because y'all not going to all do the right stuff now. All right? So I got to teach y'all how to get around all this stuff, too. If you're going to have a crew, one of them fools got to know he going to jail. We'll get him out.
We'll get him out.
Now, you from Miami now, okay? Y'all take care of each other. Now, don't you got a guy that would take care of you and that would be out a good deal? Okay, good. Go on, sit down.
Go on, sit down.
If you're going to have a crew, make sure you know who's going to be the fall guy. Okay? I know none of y'all going to never drink, leg. I know none of y'all going to never use no drugs and everything. All y'all going to go to Bible study. I realize that, but still get you a fall guy. Okay? If you're going to have a crew, make sure they understand can't nothing happen to you. Your name can't be in lights under no circumstances. All right? Y'all understand that? All right, let's go to the first question. First question. Just stand up, tell me who you are, man, where you from, because don't nobody know you.
Devontae Freeman.
Man, I know you, dude. What's up, man? What's happening?
Oh. Hey, this for both of y'all, man. If, back in y'all career, what was one thing y'all to be able to change when y'all was playing in the league?
I'm going to tell you, man. One morning, Buddy Ryan, Labor Day, 1987, called me into his office, told me his wife had a dream. And in the dream, she said, don't cut me. And he cut me. And I had just bought my first house I ever lived in. Because I grew up in the projects, a lot like you. And my wife was pregnant. I had only been married less than a year. And he told me I can get my belongings and put it in a garbage bag and I could leave the premises. If I could change anything, I would change that day. I would change that day right there. But I learned my lesson. I went off to Minnesota and did what I had to do.
Man, no, don't start. Don't you start.
I mean, bro, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, if you make one decision, it can alter your life, your kid's life, your mama's life. This is the lottery, man. Y'all didn't hit the number. Cash it in, man. You didn't hit. But what we see is, we see kids that don't believe they didn't hit the lottery. They think they understand everything, got everything. Okay, no problem. Because this is what I know. God willing, me and Sap going to be back here next year. If y'all listen or not. They ain't basing it on the results of what y'all do. But if I could change it, that day, man, that day right there, what could you change, man?
You kidding me? I'm only going to pick one. And it was the day I went to the combine because I left that day with a positive drug test. And I drugged my mother, my grandma, and my whole family to New York. And they not only say I flunked one drug test, they say I flunked 7. And that lie has chased me my whole life. All the way into the Hall of Fame when I sat down figuring I'm good, you know. Oh, what about that day at the draft? I'm like, that alarm clock been went off, buddy. But that ain't something that you could ever change in your life. So when you make decisions, they are going with you. I mean, they are going with you. They are stamped to you just like the hair and nails on your butt. It's going with you. So if I could change that day, because I took what should have been a great day in my life, being drafted in the first round, and turned it into a 2-hour and 45-minute nightmare.
Good
I
question.
changed that. I changed my actions before I went, but here I am right there. Thank good Lord, I saw the light.
As soon as I saw this video, the first thing I did was shoot it off to Marlon Newbern, prison psychologist, now enjoying a private practice in Southern California. And we're going to hear what he said in a minute. But, it seems like I've been hearing a lot of this exact kind of Chris Carter advice lately. Just the other day at the University of Wisconsin, one of the professors or administrators said, people should not be arrested for stealing from Walmart because it's a big insurance company. What's the damn difference? So no people should be arrested at Walmart. Then in my little town of Wilmington, Delaware, I went to a mayoral event, 2 years ago, and they had these guys named the Peacekeepers there. Well, the Peacekeepers, they wear orange jackets and they walk through the most dangerous neighborhoods of a town that is called the most dangerous small city in America. And they talk to the young men, air quotes, telling them to, hey, try not to kill anybody today, okay? Anyway, so I got a flyer from them on the front. It had all these great things about the Peacekeepers. Come join us. You get a cool jacket if you do. But on the back of the flyer, there were a set of instructions what to do if you're doing something and the cops catch you. Instruction 1. Don't talk to the cops. Don't cooperate in any way. Wow. Stitches for snitches. Witness intimidation. Don't talk to the cops. What do you think that does to the crime rate? Well, crime could be going way up, but that kind of stuff brings the crime rate, which is a mathematical figure, brings that down. Why don't we go to Marlon Newbern and see what he has to say about this mess, especially about Chris Carter and Warren Sapp. What the two pros were addressing is that they understood their rookies were already from Thugland and thus impervious to warnings not to break the law. So they used the hilarious Fall Guy to help them avoid prosecution when they started living the libertine lifestyle in the future due to wads of cash and cars. The two speakers knew they had thugs sitting in front of them. The NFL isn't called the National Felon League for nothing. They had a chance to teach the rookies that the street life was and always has been a dead end, an unacceptable lifestyle. But that would betray the ongoing national celebration and acceptance of the ghetto thug life. Note the tortured English in the two pros. Ghetto speak, representing solidarity. If this is the first time you're hearing the words of Marlon Newbern, then I can tell you haven't read Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. He's all over that. He's a former prison psychologist, court-appointed psychologist. He's been in the belly of the beast of this black crime, black on white hostility that is so wildly out of proportion for so long, and now is getting easier and easier to find. So if you're a rookie in the NFL, or you're at a Walmart, you're thinking about stealing something or catching somebody who's stealing something, or if you're in Wilmington, Delaware, and you're walking through a neighborhood where the Peacekeepers can be found in their orange jackets, just remember one thing. Don't make the black kids angry.
touches here, certainly picking up the slack for Garrett. He was injured early in the game, and I think Isaac's saying he may have gotten poked in the eye or something. Something came through his mask.
And he's not that big of a kid. He's 6'3", 185 pounds, only a sophomore. He runs hard. 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 And that's 8 yards in the first round there. It looked like you see him grabbing his eye. You know, when you play on this turf, it's ground up rubber that's in there. And I've done that where you can.
The video cuts off just as the announcer begins to explain that he didn't really get poked in the eye. It was probably something from the turf. You know, they do put these rubber pellets on the artificial turf, and he was explaining to us how that probably got into the player's eye. I guess the announcer wasn't really watching his own monitor. But, you know, in all of my books, I talk a lot about black on white crime connected to sports, whether it's on the field, where a bunch of parents will charge a referee who made a call they didn't like. The parents will charge, all of a sudden the referee is surrounded by 20 or 30 people, including players, and they're beating the hell out of them, or stuff in the stands, or stuff after the game. My favorite headline is from a Detroit newspaper that said, I forget exactly what it said, but it's in the books. It proclaims, the story was, large fight did not break out at high school football game between two black schools. I guess we'll just file this one under one more example of black on white crime. This was a crime in high schools. Lots more details in that scintillating bestseller, Don't Make the Black Kid.
Former Houston Oilers player is sharing his story tonight after he says a Pearland police officer pulled a gun on him during a traffic stop.
It is the latest officer-citizen run-in.
Our Alice Barr is live in Pearland tonight trying to understand both sides of this story. Alice?
Pearland police here are investigating this, talking to the officer involved and checking through his dash cam footage and body cam footage before they comment on this. But to Lamar Lathan, this incident is a sign of our tense times.
Completely terrified. Completely terrified.
It's not an emotion Lamar Lathan knows well, used to terrorizing others on the football field as an Oilers Pro Bowler. But he says he feared for his life during a late-night traffic stop here at FM 2234 and Alameda.
I reached for my license. I keep hearing my console, and he immediately drew his weapon.
The console's below Lathan's seat. The Pearland police officer's gun, he says, was pointed in his face.
Have you lost your mind? Why are you pulling a gun on?
Lathan says the officer then made him get out of his car and searched it. When he didn't find a weapon, he let Lathan go with a speeding ticket, 65 and a 50, and an urge to warn others.
We are living in a dangerous time.
That's something officers clearly know. HPD's union president Ray Hunt knows nothing about Lathan's case in Pearland, but he says all officers need to be more vigilant than ever after Deputy Darren Goforth's murder.
I would hope that officers are extremely careful whenever they're walking up on cars. I hate to say this, but I think there's probably a chance that there's a lot less traffic stops taking place in the last few days as well. A lot less self-initiated calls.
Lathan stresses he understands and respects the police point of view, but says that tension can't be allowed to carry too far.
Because people are going to get hurt out here. Just reaching for their license, just acknowledging an officer doing something that he's asked you to do.
We'll note that Lathan does have a criminal history, 2 misdemeanor assaults and a family violence charge over the past 20 years. He got deferred adjudication in all cases, basically a form of probation. We do not know whether Pearland police had checked his record before pulling him over and whether that might have influenced his treatment.
You should judge to the call, license plate.
Who did that?
Good morning. I'm Officer new with the Pearland Police Department. It's your driver's license and your proof of financial responsibility. Don't reach under your seat, man. Don't reach under your seat.
No.
Don't reach under your seat, man.
No, I'm getting my...
Don't reach under your seat. Do what I tell you to.
Hey, dude, you
Hey, dude, don't reach under the seat.
I'm getting my
I don't
stuff,
care.
man.
Don't reach under the seat.
Didn't you just ask me for my driver's license?
Don't reach under the
So
seat.
what are you pulling me over for anyway?
Because you're speeding. Let me see your driver's license and your proof of financial responsibility.
That's my driver's license.
Okay? Need the other paperwork I was asking for. Okay? All I want is the one sheet that says that this vehicle is insured.
Man, I'm not worried about no policeman come out killing me. I'm just trying to figure out why you pulling me over.
Is there any reason for you speeding?
I don't... Where did you see me speeding?
On Shadow Creek, the 12300 block of Shadow Creek. The 12300 block of Shadow Creek.
Coming from the, where? Coming from where?
The 12300 block of Shadow Creek.
What was that?
I don't know any other way how to explain it. It's the 12300 block of Shadow Creek.
Well, at the 12300 block of Shadow Creek, why didn't you put the light on me?
Because it took so long for me to catch up to you because you were speeding so fast.
Man.
Can I see the other paperwork I was
When did you clock me at speeding?
65.
Dude, are you... Okay. Hey, man, here. Let me do this. So, I'm going to respect you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
If you clocked me at 65, I just lost my mama within the last year. On my mama. Ain't no way you clocked me at 65.
I wouldn't have pulled you over if I wasn't 100% sure that you were doing 65 and a 50.
I understand.
So.
I understand. If you say I was doing 65, you clocked me. You got me on radar locked at 65. That's what you're
right.
telling me. Boy.
Go ahead and stay here in your vehicle. I'll be right back with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Come on out here for a second. Come on out here for a second. Come on out here for a second.
Why do I need to come on?
Come on out here for a second.
Oh, you arresting me or something?
I don't know that yet. No, right now you're just getting a ticket.
Okay, well, why do I need to step out?
Come on out here for a second.
Man, you know, with all the stuff that's happening,
You're in a lit parking lot.
I'm a big guy.
Okay.
And you're a little guy. And I don't want you to think that anything. You've already pulled a taser out on me.
No, I pulled my gun on you because you're reaching under the seat. Come on, step out of the car.
To get my license.
Step back here.
To get my license.
Here's the deal. Step back here to my car. I don't know what you were reaching for underneath the car.
Yeah,
okay?
Man,
so I'm going to take a look. If there's nothing there, no guns, nothing,
I don't
we're
have
good to go.
any guns. You don't have no permission to check my car?
I don't need it. I don't need it. Go ahead and step over here.
Man,
Hold on. No, walk back to your car.
Go ahead and arrest me then.
I'm not
That's
arresting
the case.
you.
Well,
Step
why
back
do you
to my
need to
car.
check my car? I don't have a
Because
gun.
you're making furtive movements. Go ahead and step back there.
Are you serious?
Step over to my car.
I don't have
I
no
haven't
gun.
pat him
I
down
don't
yet,
carry
so
a
he's
gun.
making furtive movements already.
Oh, my God.
That's all I wanted to see. I wanted to know if you were trying to pull a gun on me.
I don't have a gun.
So I'm done with that part of it. You're going to get a ticket. Give me 1 second. Let me finish up my paperwork, and you will be on your way.
Give me a second. See, this is how people get hurt, man. I could get hurt because you asked me for my license.
Well, here's the deal.
For my license.
So what did I say? What did I tell you? You were not listening to me. I told you don't reach under the car. You reached under the car again. I told you don't
my
reach
license.
What would a normal person do in that situation?
Oh, my God.
They would say, hey, hold on a second. My license is under here. Can I get it? That's what they would say. A normal person and 90% of the people that I interact with.
Do we honestly, you step up on the car and say, give me your license. I go to get my license and you got a gun on me?
You're taking it out of context.
Okay.
That is not what happened.
Okay.
What is your current phone number? What is your current phone number?
Man, you know what?
What is your current phone number?
300.
In your past and several violations of all different types. You're required to contact your insurance court on or before October 6, 2015 at 9 a.m. Up here at the top is the phone number. What I'm underlining for you is the address to show up to. If you could sign right here at the line that I pointed out for, it's not saying that you're guilty. It's saying you promised to show up in court.
I'm going to show up in court. There you go, sir. Like I said, my mama died August 8th a year ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You saw me speeding, and you drove all the way down. I'm watching you in my rearview mirror. You drove all the way down here to this light to give me a ticket, then so be it.
Okay. What is the speed limit on Shadow Creek?
Hey, man, it's 50 miles an hour.
Why
And
are
I'm
we
just
doing
trying to
65?
show me where you locked me in at 65. At the show me.
I'm not required to.
Why not? But you're required to stop me coming all the way down a whole mile down the road?
Recorded in the video.
Okay.
Here's your
It's all
copy.
good. Thank you.
Do you want your license back?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, I want my license back.
Okay, don't walk up on me. Have a good day.
Dude, don't help me. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have my lawyer show that video how you put a gun on me after you asked me for my license.
It'll be in court.
That were relevant and I could agree with. But there are also some obviously ignorant points in there. I don't think it's any time's a time to call out for all-out war against police or any race of people. I thought that was an ignorant statement. But as a black man, I do understand that Black Lives Matter. I stand for that. I believe in that wholeheartedly. But I also think that there's a way to go about things and there's a way to do things. And I think the issue at hand needs to be addressed internally and before we move on, because from personal experience, you have living in the hood, living in the inner city, you deal with things, you deal with people dying, dealt with a best friend getting killed, and it was two 35-year-old black men, and wasn't no police officer involved, wasn't anybody else involved, and I didn't hear anybody shouting Black Lives Matter then. And I think that's the point we need to get to, is that we need to deal with our own internal issues before we move forward and start pointing fingers and start attacking other people. We need to solidify ourselves as a people and deal with our issues, because I think as long as we have black on black crime and black, one black man killing another, if Black Lives Matter, then they should matter all the time. You should never let somebody get killed. That's somebody's son, that's somebody's brother, that's somebody's friend. So you should always keep that in mind. And there's a lot of dealings with police officers right now. I don't think all cops are bad. I think there's some great cops out there who do everything in their power to uphold the badge and uphold the honor and protect the people out in society. But there are bad cops, and I think that also needs to be addressed. I think police officers we have right now, some of it is being brought to light because of video cameras. Everybody has a camera phone. But these are things a lot of us have dealt with our whole lives. And I think right now is the perfect time to deal with it. It's the climate we're in, everybody's being more accepting, so I think the ignorance should stop.
Was it opinions will be challenged.
Yeah,
Now, Mike, you know me, I am all for athletes speaking their mind, having opinions on social issues, even if I don't agree with them.
Yeah, I am too.
But they need to understand those opinions will be challenged.
Yeah, I am. This was extremely counterproductive commentary, and I applaud and admire athletes with the courage to speak up on social and political issues. Even if we don't agree, but everybody can't bat 1,000. I respect the hell out of Richard Sherman, what he's done, where he's come from and where he is now. He's a smart brother. I like him a lot, but he's dead wrong on this. And with all due respect, I think he needs to do a little more reading before he starts talking about it. I think he needs to do a little more thought, a little more introspection before he starts speaking on this, because again, this is so counterproductive because it undermines the message and the movement that is Black Lives Matter. First of all, whether it's what about Hope Solo with domestic violence is, well, what about black on black crime? These two things are mutually exclusive. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other one. Black people do care about crime in their communities. Typically, you are going to commit crimes against people who are closest to you. Crime is a product of proximity. 84% of white people killed every year are killed by, wait for it, other white people. Black on black crime has nothing to do with crimes against black people by the state. Here's another difference. When black people commit murder or commit crimes, more often than not, they go to jail. When police killed unarmed black men or women, as the case may be, they may not go to jail, let alone even go to trial.
They get death duty.
They get death duty. They get on administrative leave. So don't undermine the conversation by we don't need, look, I know you play cornerback, we don't need a deflection here. We don't need a deflection, we don't need a distraction, we don't need an alternative conversation. His points were well taken in general. If Richard Sherman wants to run in politics someday, please don't run on a respectability politics platform as if the Black Lives Matter movement and the problems it is seeking to combat are a result of problems that we have brought on ourselves. I think that's, we gotta get over that. We gotta get beyond that. I'm just a little disappointed to hear Richard Sherman speak on that and validate the people who think that. We hear that enough every day. And I just hated to hear that from him.
Yeah, I did too, and I understand, as he pointed out, he clearly has a very personal experience with it. And the only thing I'll add, because you said everything so beautifully.
I'm sorry, I took up all your time.
No, it didn't matter. You was cooking, and I was going to certainly let you continue to cook, is that there is and should be a different expectation among those who have badges and who are trained police officers whose job is to administer safety in our communities. And oh, by the way, part of the reason that there has been such less, if I went with the term black on black crime, but crime in those environments that Richard Sherman grew up in, that I grew up in, that you did, is because of the failure of law enforcement to adequately police those communities. Yeah. And I hate in general the conversation as if we as multifaceted, fully functioning, thinking individuals can't occupy two issues at the same time.
Right.
We can care about black lives in our own communities and also hold the police and those who have been tasked to police us accountable for their actions.
Correct.
They do not have to be separated.
They don't have to conflict either.
No, they don't.
And one did not beget the other.
No, and if anything, part of the reason why this conversation, why Black Lives Matter has risen the way it has, is because this is an element and an instrument of institutional racism, which you could link to some of the problems that are going on in the inner cities. So, like you, I was very disappointed that he had this commentary, because unfortunately, a lot of people who do say, well, what about all lives matter? Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? We would need Black Lives Matter if all lives did in fact matter. Okay, so he's giving them an entry point to say, see, Richard Sherman said that, so it must be okay.
Jay-Z said the N-word.
Right? So
why can't I?
There it is.
It's all the same thing.
It's all the same conversation. So again, respect his right to have his opinion, but that opinion will be challenged.
Again, it's counterproductive.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One of my buddies recently moved from New Jersey to the Florida Panhandle. I told him, Dave, you've got to get a football team. This is not like New Jersey. You've got to get a college football team to follow and to become a real fan of. And your choices there are either going to be Alabama or the Florida Gators. Take your choice. Pick one. Stick with it. You'll be glad you did. When I tell people about what SEC football is like when you're down there, they go, oh yeah, I like my Chargers, or I like my Buckeyes, or I like my Cowboys. No, it's nothing like that. Being a fan of an SEC team like the Gators or the Tide or LSU, that's a 12-month-a-year thing. In Alabama, they get over 100,000 people to come to their games. I'm talking about the practice game in the springtime. So they love their football there more than anything else. And I don't know any other way to get my mind around this story. Recently came out of Louisiana. A couple of the fellas who play football for Alabama were caught in a Monroe, Louisiana playground. They had pot. They were smoking pot. They had a gun visible, 2:30 a.m. They had a gun visible in the car. When they searched the car, they found a stolen gun. The district attorney said, we're not going to press charges on these two players because we don't want to ruin their lives. Let's hear from the DA. Let's hear from where other criminals are being released far before their time is through. And then I want to give you my own personal list of criminals I'd like to see released just for the hell of it.
I want to emphasize once again, the main reason that I'm doing this is that I refuse to ruin the lives of two young men who have spent their adolescence and their teenage years working and sweating while we were all home under air conditioning to play football. They did it. They've been successful. I wish them well in their future endeavors, and I do not think this should be a strike against them with anyone, including Alabama or their hometown of Monroe or anything else. And therefore, I'm dismissing it. But there's a legal basis and a personal basis for this, and I'm going to take the blame. Personal basis is the number one basis. I don't want to ruin the lives of two young men. There were 4 people in the car, and it may have been under the driver's or the passenger's seat. I can't prove who put it there. And even if I could get DNA showing that he had touched it at some point in time, that does not mean that he obtained it. Does not mean that it was possession of stolen things, because I must show that the person possessing an object that is stolen knew or should have known that it was in fact the object of a theft. And in this case, with the gun being stolen in another state, I don't think it would be possible to prove that.
Belinda, between January and November of last year, the parole board let a total of 421 inmates convicted of first-degree murder leave prison early. 42 of those killers were sentenced to life behind bars. Now, all 421 of them are living among us.
You know, I don't wish this on anybody because you almost go crazy.
In 1992, Joe Nafagard became something nobody wants to be, the parent of a murdered child.
He was 18 on March 11th, and they murdered him May the 31st.
Russell Nafagard was Joe's youngest child. He was stabbed to death by Adam Val. Val killed the teen because he wanted his $300 necklace.
I never thought that this would happen.
Just last week, Nafagard and crime victims advocate Andy Kahn asked the parole board to keep Val behind bars.
He was a habitual criminal before he was convicted of murdering Russell.
In fact, Val was on parole when he committed the killing.
If he had served maybe even half of that 8-year sentence, Joe's son Russell's alive and well today. That's just a fact.
How many other convicted killers have been paroled after serving half or less than half of their sentences? According to the prison system's own figures, 421 convicted killers were paroled between January and November of 2015.
I was stunned. I was not expecting that high a number.
On average, those 421 paroled killers served only 41% of their sentences.
First-degree murders. We're not talking any other category. The worst of the worst, with the exception of capital murder, were paroled somewhere in this state.
Since Val has served about half of his sentence for first-degree murder, Nafargar worries the parole board will free his son's killer.
He would do it again, and there's no need for that. You know, we've got enough hurt already in the country, you know. We need to keep him where he's at.
Harris County got the bulk of the convicted killers, with 81 of them paroled here. Dallas County was second with 71 killers. If these parole numbers concern you, the best way to get your voice heard is by contacting your local and state elected official.
1 in 3 African American men, if the trends that we see today continue, will spend some time in jail or prison. That is absolutely unacceptable. There is no justification for it. There is no excuse for it. And
so we've got Louisiana, we've got Texas, we've got Hillary Clinton on the campaign stump. That's her favorite speech. How black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism, and that's the only reason why so many black people are in prison. So this is not an isolated thing. So when people like Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, yes, Republicans too, Chris Christie, Marco Rubio, Paul Rand, when they talk about criminal justice reform, that means we have to recognize that the only reason there's so many black people in prison is because of white racism. So let's start letting them out, and that'll be just fine. Well, okay, I have my own list of some recent examples of black on white crime and black violence. Almost taken at random. They're just in the news in the last day or so. I don't know why. I don't know why we wouldn't want to let these guys out.
Surprise move today. A Dorville teenager admitted her part in the death of a Sandy Springs man and agreed to serve 40 years in prison. Danny Zeitz was killed during the robbery of his video game console, and Channel 2's Mike Pachinik was the only reporter in court as the teen tearfully apologized, and the victim's family had a message too.
Justin, today was supposed to be the first day of Kayla Dixon's trial, but just as jury selection was to begin, she accepted that plea deal and apologized to Danny Zeitz's family.
I know he had plans. I wish I could tell him I'm so sorry that this happened, but I can't.
Through tears, 18-year-old Kayla Dixon expressed remorse for her part in the 2014 shooting death of semi-pro video gamer Danny Zeitz outside of his Sandy Springs apartment.
I would try anything, almost anything, to bring Daniel back, but I know I can't.
Prosecutors say Dixon and her boyfriend responded to a Craigslist ad Zeitz posted to sell his PlayStation, intending to rob him. When he resisted, Dixon admits she pulled a gun from between her legs and fired off the shot that killed Zeitz.
I sit in my cell every day thinking about that night.
Dixon's plea means she'll spend 40 years in prison. Before sentencing, Zeitz's mother, Patty, spoke for his family.
The loss of Danny has reached the depths of our hearts and souls, and the hearts and souls of thousands around the world because of his gifts of kindness and joy. Nothing can bring Danny back or take our pain and suffering away.
Outside of court, the Zeitzes told me they can accept Dixon's apology.
I hope it stays with her and she becomes a better person and able to contribute, you know, when she finally does get out.
A trial for the co-defendant in this case, Nathaniel Vivian, is scheduled for later this summer.
Auburn Hills police are working to track down a couple of crooks wanted for a gas station burglary. They smashed their way into a Sunoco on the 2800 block of Auburn Road using a hammer to shatter the glass. After getting inside, at least one of the men rips the cash register right off the counter. Police rushed to the scene after the alarm went off, but the suspects got away. If you can help identify them, please call the Auburn Hills Police Department right away.
Hey, Mr. District Attorney, You think it's easy putting on a hoodie and getting a mallet and breaking into a gas station, stealing computers? That's hard work too. You know what? That's probably harder than being a football player. And how about this guy? This guy in Brooklyn. This kind of got away from us. This is from a couple weeks ago. Guy in Brooklyn just standing in the subway. Somebody else comes up. A black guy comes up behind him, starts wailing on him. When it came time to be arraigned, the criminal would not enter the courtroom because the victim was there ready to confront him. The white guy there is the victim.
Come on, tell my cousin sorry. You're not sorry. Come on, tell my cousin sorry. You're not sorry.
And how about this one, Mr. District Attorney? Here's a story of a large group of black people in Fargo, North Dakota. They're getting into fights, they're defying police, they're creating mayhem, they're destroying property. You have any idea what it's like to live in Fargo, North Dakota year-round? It's not that the winters are harsh, which they are, it's just that they're long. And now more black people are moving into Fargo, a little bit late to catch that job thing going on in the oil fields and natural gas fields of North Dakota, but they're moving up there, and soon after, large episodes of black mob violence followed. Now, if you think those two Alabama football players had it rough, sweating, while the rest of us were in the air conditioning, think about everybody living in North Dakota. Oh, I guarantee you spend a few months in North Dakota, you will be begging for the summer of Alabama. And you will be begging for the district attorney if you get caught with guns and drugs and stolen property at 2:30 a.m. at a park. You'll be begging for the district attorney to remember one thing. Don't make the black kids angry.